Now let's talk about managing environments within the development lifecycle. So as a developer, your environment is comprised of a couple of different components. First of all, you have a local IDE where you're writing and editing code, along with a source control repository that you use to collaborate with your teammates. Additionally, you need a deployment environment where you can run your application on the real AWS services that are going to be used in production in order to test and verify that the code that you're writing locally works the way that you expect it. There are a couple of different ways you can approach providing developers with a dedicated sandbox environment. On the one hand, you can create separate accounts for each developer. This is typically the most flexible and provides the best isolation between developers. However, there is some overhead that you need to be aware of in terms of your ability to secure and monitor all of these different accounts. Assuming your organization already has the infrastructure in place to create and manage multiple AWS accounts effectively, this is probably the best way to go. On the other hand, you can use a single shared development account that all developers use to deploy multiple stacks into. The nice thing about using a framework like we discussed in the previous section is that each developer can deploy the same code multiple times using something like AWS SAM, and simply create multiple stacks within the same environment and test different versions of the code side by side. In addition to a manual testing environment where developers can deploy and interact with their code directly, you'll also want to set up a CI/CD process to automatically build, deploy, and test your code across multiple environments. So we recommend that you separate out your production environment from your non-prod accounts using separate AWS accounts. Now, here we've pictured a single test account, but you may have additional environments as well. And one of the really cool things about using serverless architectures is that stacks are essentially free to create. Because you only pay for what you use when you're writing code in Lambda, it doesn't cost you anything to create a new environment and run a stack and have that available for your team to test and demo with. So you can create as many of these different environments as you want without impacting costs the way that you would if you were using a traditional server-based deployment model.